Were you like a sponge? Were you like, oh, this is what I needed, or did
Yes.
you even know what you needed?
I just found my intensive folder, actually.
I know. I still have my
Oh my
intensive
God,
folder from
crazy.
like 12 years ago.
It was like you went to an asylum and like asked someone to find, like, let me see your notebook. Like, that was me.
I used to carry it around in my trunk for the longest time. But yeah, it was.
I just you make it work. If you want something bad enough, you make it work. And you know, my one of my family members said to me once, because he moved out here, and you know, Uncle Nick, if you're listening to this, I love you. I don't mean anything bad by this. But I came home one year for Christmas, and he said, "Oh, you're still trying that acting thing out there?" And I go, "Yeah," because he had moved there to do something similar.
Yeah.
And I said, "Yeah, I am." And he goes, "Wow, how long? You know, what's your backfall? What's that?" And I just snapped on him, and I said, "You know what, dude? There is no backfall. I'm getting a degree just for the level of confidence and to continue with this deal with my parents." And I go, there is no alternative. I go, I'm going to be an actor. I'm going to be a working actor. And then he was a little stunned how I talked to him. And then later he actually apologized to me. And it was just, especially when you come home for Christmas or Hanukkah or any holiday, I'm sure every actor in Los Angeles and New York can agree with me on this. If you don't have a job, if you didn't work in the past 6 months, if your commercial didn't go, if your print ad got canceled.
If you opened a residual check and it wasn't what you had hoped for, so you can't buy your family gifts for that, you know?
Oh, dude, not even that. They just like, so what are you working on? It's the dreaded question. What are you working on as an artist?
Yeah.
Because half the time it was just auditioning, class.
But I will say this, you did start working.
Yes.
So was the difference just learning the craft? Was the difference, was that or was it a blend of everything, of all the hard work just started paying off?
Yes. I would say, thinking back on my co-star auditions, oh my gosh, let me restart that. How do I there's so many things going through my head right now of
so many one-line barista roles.
For real. So many one-line roles that, like, oh my God, I did this one project. Maybe you can cut this out. I did this one project, and it was, like, next to Emmy Award-winning actors and actresses, and the director just was like, hey, so how about this is your intention? How about that's your intention? I'm like, I've been a guest star. Like, I've tested for series regulars. Like, I have tested for like network films. Like, I'm not network films, studio films.
Yeah.
Like, I know what I'm doing. And you just really have to be humble and open and go, okay, I'm a visitor, and however she wants it to be, and however, if it's not coming off on camera, it's not coming off on camera. And and when they call you in, I know so many actors, and including myself, who weren't ready for a job.
So true, yeah.
But they looked the part all the time. So when you go in, and I think for the Suburgatory, I went in for this jock, and I think
it was an ABC show back in the
Yeah, and I was with like Parker Young and Jane Levy, and I went in and I had maybe it was like a full page of lines or something, and then it just got cut down, and I just got cut out, and part of me felt I walked in, they go, okay, I see him as a quarterback, I see him as, like you said, I see him as the football player. He could say a line. We can even just do a cutaway, and he just says, score.
Yeah.
So they're like, what's the path of least resistance, and who's in our room? And have we seen him before? Has he messed up? Has he been good? Let's just give it to him.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I'll run into people on, and I'll have them on my resume, not them, but their show, and they go, wow, I haven't seen you since Suburgatory. And I go, I don't remember that. I don't. I heard iCarly, but I did just see the women that still cast iCarly, and it was lovely.
It is funny. The longer you're out here, the more you start to know people, and the more that community really does follow. But people, you guys listening, people do remember you. Like, you think that they don't. Mm-hmm. It just might take years.
Yeah, people think that like the casting office is a robot without feelings, or like a camera without feelings, but. Truly, my friend Mayank Bhattar just started doing a podcast with these casting associates and casting directors, and listening to these men and women talk about actors coming in the room. They remember everything. They say, please don't ask if you can strangle me for the audition. Please don't bring a knife in. Please don't bring a gun in. Please don't run across the room and break my door. It goes, we remember the good and we remember the bad, and so I was auditioning for this feature the other day, and I had to kind of get close to someone's face for something. And I just, before we started, I go, how close can I come until my head isn't cut out fully? And then the casting director said to here. I said, okay, great. And that was me being in the actor's face, but
Yeah.
she's still 4 feet
But
away
it's
from
also
me.
smart enough because you know that it's a frame. You know
Yeah.
that you want your performance to show. And then it shows them that you care.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think the biggest mistake people can tell actors is you're a natural, because the people that are naturals are usually pretty cocky with themselves, and they just think they don't need training or think they don't need to keep working on the craft. And
those are careers that don't last.
yes, and I found myself just disconnecting from people like that. Whether it's in an intensive, not here, but anywhere they're like, oh, I'm a natural, and I go, okay, like natural hard worker? Like what do you mean? Like, as if we're in a scene together and you're a natural and this is just how I do it. I go, okay, well, I need a new partner because I don't we have to have some kind of.
I guess I'm not a natural. Yeah,
yeah, I guess I'm not a natural.
Yeah.
I guess you have to have given circumstances,
Yeah.
the genre and the relationship of the scene, and you're playing opposite everything. So I go, you need to be knowledgeable, and especially going to a casting office. If you go into David Rappaport casting, he has 12 shows he's doing for Berlanti.
You might not be good for one, but he's going to remember you
Yes.
for like 2 others.
Yes, and he brings so many new talents in daily because he believes in the future of an actor's career. He will, if you come in and goes like, okay, like wasn't that great, but he's going to remember him or her for the next year. Go, oh, maybe. I remember that kid. Maybe he would do this again.
Don't you love that when you actually realize casting directors treat it as an art themselves?
They're humans and they love what they do.
Yeah, like that. You really see passion, and that does give you hope.
And the people that say, "Oh, that casting director is so mean," in my experience, it's because you didn't know what the heck you were doing and you wasted their time. And
I just got chills. I was like, oh, I wasted some time.
Who hasn't wasted
Yeah.
time? And so we're going into new rooms and going into familiar rooms. It's always the same. It's like, hey, how are you doing? How's everything going? And sometimes even ask about former projects to go, hey, how'd that pilot go that you did? Because you read a pilot, you're invested.
Yeah.
Especially during pilot season or off season, when you're reading a script, you're like, oh wow, okay, it's the most important thing to you for the next 24 hours or 48 hours until you have the audition. And so part of you, it's kind of like, I call it like a Horcrux. Like a Harry Potter.
Yeah.
It's like every script has a bit of your heart into it. I love certain casting directors and what they work on, and especially ones like I haven't met in New York. I always get so like, oh my god, I wish I could go out for that. Oh, I wish I could. Or they become like New York casting, or you know what I mean? Like they, especially during pilot season, you get other people on the name, and I'm always so stoked to see. Like Jennifer Houston is based in New York, I think.
Yeah.
Like she's someone I really, really want to meet because Kimmy Schmidt is probably one of my all-time favorite shows, and like the people she casts in it. And I fanboy out.
So when you did start auditioning, then you actually do start booking. Like, what was the first thing you ever booked? Did you have that kind of classic actor mistake of booking your first thing and going, hey, this is going to be super easy after all. I guess I'm going to be a star by next week.
No.
Okay.
No way, man.
I
was terrified. Like, I want to say it just took me to the past couple years to not have cold hands on set. My hands would just get freezing cold, and I would start shaking, and then I would drink coffee in the morning, and I'd be shaking, and I go, what is wrong? Yeah, I think you kind of just sink into your body and trust yourself. But
that takes decades.
Yeah, it takes,
unless you're a natural, calm down.
I don't need anything. Yeah. I love sensing, I love being in touch with my body and understanding why things happen to me and pinpointing the different parts. Because, when I go into an audition in the waiting room, sometimes I do, you get like little nerves, and I go, I'm nervous? Why am I nervous? And I have a conversation with myself and go, do you not remember the last 24 hours that we just spent working on these songs and this dance?
You worked.
And this? I go, we worked. I go, just because we're waiting in this, we.
No, but that's it. You're talking to the gremlin in your head, the person in your head,
Especially because when you get in, I went to this audition a couple weeks ago, and a casting director for a multicam, I love her. And I went in, and I was like, oh, wow. Like, she always brings her favorites in. She brings, like, her four black, 4 white, 4 Latin, 4 Middle Eastern people in. And I'm always like, where do I fit? I'm one of those. I'm one of them. And she comes in, And I walked up and there were like 16 people because they were behind. And that's probably one of the most discouraging things as an actor when you have to wait an hour and 20 minutes. But it's also part of the business. So you have to prep yourself for being in those rooms for that long.
Yeah.
Especially during pilot season, especially when they don't know what the heck they want. They could want these two siblings to be black, and then an hour after producer session, this happened to me during a producer session. They wanted like Latin roles. Halfway through, the casting director sends out, we want black actors and actresses for this pair of siblings. So it didn't mess with my audition at all, but I did know that when it's a mixed bag of people in the room, they don't know what they want, and that's honestly the best. I think that's the best when they don't know what they want.
I mean, supposed losses we have out here. I was noticing, you were in the pilot for Cruel Intentions for NBC, and that was a pilot where it didn't go, and it was down. I mean, I believe it was down to the wire. Even when it didn't go, they were trying to save it in some way because it was a pilot that a lot of people loved, and you were in that. What is it like to book a pilot, to shoot a pilot, a high-profile project, something that's been a movie in the past, so you're like, well, this is going to go. I got work. What's that like?
That was, the one where you go, oh, this is it.
Yeah.
This is it. That was my this is it. Traffic was so bad getting here to the con, and I was coming to coach with Resly, and it was in Burbank, and it was kind of like a very tight morning that Resly had. I wound up FaceTiming her in the Hollywood Bowl parking lot.
Because you couldn't make it here because of traffic, right?
For 10 minutes.
Oh, yes.
And she goes, all right, I like it, go. And I had to be in Burbank at the casting office. And I wound up booking it. And I mean, this is a movie. This is the IP that everyone
It's legendary.
knows.
Like, we all know Cruel Intentions.
Yeah, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Ryan Phillippe, Roger Cumble as a director who just directed After, and then he's nonstop working.
Yeah.
So when I got it, I was very, very nervous. But Annie Winters and Samantha Logan and even Peter Gallagher and Sarah SMG and Sarah Michelle Gellar were just all lovely and welcoming, and it was so exciting because when NBC, a major network, put all this money and people, they stacked it up, and so when I got it, I said, "Oh my God." Like, this is it. Like, this is my Gossip Girl.
Yeah.
This is my 7 season run of a show.
Yeah.
And when we shot it, I think we shot it in like April. It was like end of pilot season kind of casting. We had this like big house party, a boat party in Marina Del Rey, and we had what else? I think that
you mean as like a rap party?
No, it's one of our scenes.
Oh, gotcha.
I was like this Lothario, bisexual party boy that just was like on everyone and everything and drugs, and was like, really into Samantha Logan's character, and then wake up in bed with Samantha Logan's character. But like, I mean, it was crazy, and we called it Cruel Contention because it was in contention for 9 months. I want to say 9 months. I think like December. And I don't know.
So they held you for 9 months. They signed you to
No, I was. I think
you were recurring, so you weren't even. Wow.
It was one of those roles that were like it's recurring. I think Annie and I both.
And it could have been a breakout. And it could have been
And then it was like you're fractional for the first season, or you're like a recurring, and
And then you
And then you up. And so when we found out, I was in Iowa filming this Michael DeLuca project, and I was so stoked about it, going on to another project, and the Embeds actually was the next one I did right in the same year, and it was where I made one of my really, really close friends, and Chloe, who I mentioned earlier, who just booked Hawaii Five-0. Thank you. Little plug for that. I mean, I'm like such.
I like that you took the thank you as well. Thank you.
I mean, for her, yeah. She's, just like when friends work, you're like, I love that my friends work, and so working on Cruel. I mean, then going to Embeds. And I fell in love with both these projects. I felt like that was, 16 or 2017.
Was going to be your
that was
year.
going to be the year, And then it was dry for 2 years.